Hi, this is Mike Elliott, and you're watching the SEC Filings TV Executive Interview Series. In this episode, we'll be talking to Mr. Trent Daniels, founder of One World Holdings, whose subsidiary, the One World Doll Project, endeavors to make significant positive cultural impact through its Prettie Girls multicultural doll line. One World Holdings is a publicly traded company listed under ticker symbol OWOO. Good morning, Trent. Thanks for joining us.
How are you, Mike?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. To start off, I'd just like to get you to tell us about the last couple of updates from One World Holdings and how things are progressing with the recent launch of the new Prettie Girls doll line and what feedback you've had thus far on how they're being received by the market.
Okay, great. Well, first of all, as far as feedback is concerned, we're getting what I would call phenomenal feedback from the marketplace. When we first created this line, Mike, we really believed that there was a major need out in the marketplace. And, I always kind of phrase it that every year you have women of color out in the stores looking for dolls that look like they're little girls. And truthfully speaking, it's just not happening. So we've been getting emails, letters, phone calls from mothers and from parents out there that are buying these dolls. And their little girls are immediately connecting with them as if it's a doll that's been out there forever. And that's exactly what we want. So, we're really thrilled with the way things are going. We launched the Prettie Girls dolls in mid-October. Sales have been, truthfully, much better than we expected. And it's not that we were being pessimistic with our expectations, but, you just kind of want to focus on a realistic idea of what you believe that your product can do. And we've been really happy with the results of the sales of the Prettie Girls, and with the Cynthia Bailey collector's doll, that's been taking off as well. So things are really, really looking good, Mike. We're really happy with the way things are going here.
And next, give us a little background on One World Dolls and maybe elaborate on your role with the company.
Okay. Well, One World Doll Project is a company that was created to produce multicultural fashion and play dolls. The concept came from a chance meeting between myself and Stacy McBride Irby, who is a 15-year veteran of Mattel. She had designed on different Barbie doll lines before, and she was actually the creator of the Sew and Style line of Barbie dolls. Well, during our discussion, just kind of, we discussed the fact that she wanted to do some bigger things that she really didn't feel like she was going to be able to do under the Mattel flag. And, I saw an opportunity. And so we pulled some funds together and launched the company. And here we are now. As far as my role with the company, I'm one of the co-founders, and I'm also probably what you would call the head cheerleader for the company. I'm the rah-rah guy, ultimately optimistic about everything. I really focus on selling the brand and selling the business, to the marketplace. And that's kind of my specialty. Initially, the plan was for me to be the CEO, but I just felt like that a better option was Miss Melton, who's our current CEO. She comes from JP Morgan Chase. So I'm just the founder and the guy who always has something awesome to say about the One World Doll Project.
Trent, tell us about the Cynthia Bailey doll and why celebrity dolls and maybe what other celebrity dolls you have lined up.
Okay. Well, the Cynthia Bailey doll kind of was one of those things that you thought, these kind of deals would happen, but you just weren't sure. But what we found, Mike, is that when we launched this company, we started, and the word started getting around, we started getting inquiries from celebrities out there who had wanted to have a doll done of them, but realistically speaking, Mattel or the other big companies just weren't interested and weren't going to do it. And it's not that these people didn't have a fan base. It's just that that's not really the core model of, the major companies that are producing dolls. And especially, Mike, when it came to African-American, Hispanic, or celebrities of color. So what we saw as an opportunity here, first of all, from the relationships and the PR standpoint, the Cynthia Bailey doll is everywhere, and it's taking off like wildfire, Mike. Cynthia doll has been on the Bethany show. It's been on the morning shows in New York, all over the country. It was most recently on the Arsenio Hall show. So by us doing a celebrity doll with Cynthia Bailey, it's given us so much as far as exposure for this company is concerned, but also for the beautiful work that is done by our doll designer, Stacy McBride Irby. The Cynthia Bailey doll actually has an afro, so it's a unique doll in the marketplace, and we've been thrilled with it. As far as other dolls that are coming up, there's going to be next year a Bernadette Stannis, who's also known as Thelma from the TV show Good Times. We're going to be doing her doll, and that's in anticipation of an upcoming feature film release by Sony Pictures. So the celebrity doll thing has been wonderful. Like I said, we're getting inquiries from other celebrities, R&B singers, Grammy Award winners, Hollywood actors and actresses. So we're going to continue on with the celebrity doll thing, but we want to make sure that those dolls resonate with our core message, which is empowerment of little girls. And that's why Cynthia Bailey was such a perfect choice.
It's a great marketing and branding strategy. And next, I know you can't get into specific numbers, but how have the Prettie Girls sales been thus far? Even though it's been, the launch was pretty recent. Can you talk about that at all?
Well, I can say the sales numbers have been much better than we expected, and I won't get into specifics because we'll put that out when we do our end of the year filings. But I can say that our shareholders and investors and just people out there who are interested in seeing this company grow and this company build, they're certainly going to be happy with the sales numbers. Now, I can say, and we'll be putting out a press release about this later on, that just as of yesterday, our CEO and myself, we actually closed a deal that's going to open up distribution channels into 3 of the largest states in the African nation. So not only are the Prettie Girls dolls spreading here in the United States, but we're getting interest and enthusiasm in overseas markets, and we're actually going to be opening up one of those markets in the several of those markets in the very near future. So things are going really well, but we'll put out the specific numbers in the filings.
Very good. And as far as 2014, kind of moving forward, near future here, what can you tell us about your plans for next year?
Well, the first thing is, Mike, in order to talk about the plans for 2014, we need to talk about the culmination of plans for 2013. And our focus for 2013 was specifically to establish foundation, to develop the brand of the Prettie Girls, of the One World Doll Project. And fortunately, especially through our relationship with the celebrity community, we've been very successful at doing that. Now, there's still some work to be done, but the bottom line is that the One World Doll Project message, the Prettie Girls brand, to grow and expand to the point of where we are now getting inquiries, like I said, from overseas distributors and people that really want to see this thing move forward and see this thing grow and fulfill the potential it has. As far as 2014 is, our first agenda is the Toy Fair, International Toy Fair in New York City in February. Going to the Toy Fair is the first step in our plan to actually start to establish big box retail relationships. And we're very excited about doing that. The reality is you're not going to walk into the Toy Fair and get, $10 million worth of order right there at your table. But you start to establish relationships, and we will take some orders, but it's really about establishment of relationships. I think one of the most important things for anybody looking at investing into this company or that's currently invested in is that we have a slow growth strategy, Mike. Now, I say slow, but when you really look at things have been moving pretty fast. But, we're not trying to become, what we know we can overnight. We're not looking for overnight success. We're looking for gradual, slow, solid success that will create a foundation that will sustain us through the major spurts of growth that we're going to have. And we expect 2014 to be a big year for that. Also in 2014, we're going to be releasing a full 30-minute feature-length television-ready pilot for the Prettie Girls cartoon. We're in development of a major feature film, hour-and-a-half feature film for the Prettie Girls. Even plans of rolling out some Prettie Girls music coming into the next year. In this business, it's all about marketing and licensing, but the first thing you have to do is develop the brand, and then those other opportunities will open themselves up. The ultimate goal for 2014 is the Prettie Girls must be the toy that every little girl has to have for Christmas 2014. And based on the response we've gotten this year so far, I think we're going to be very close to achieving that goal. So we're having a great time.
Okay, Trent, next I'd like to move on to discussing the stock a little bit. And the first question I have is, as the business has progressed, we see there have been several deals done with what some may consider toxic financiers. Why was this approach chosen?
Well, Mike, the reality is what you call toxic finance, we call essential capital, okay? Because the truth is, when you're building a business and when you're starting off as a development stage company, any financing that you get is not going to have the most optimal terms attached to it. I mean, that's just how it works. those who are taking the biggest risk are the ones who have the greatest potential for reward. So we don't look at any financing as toxic or subprime or anything like that. What we look at it is this. We started this business to build this business, and the capital that has been required to build this business, not only to the level that we have, but also with the quality that you see in our products, it's been essential capital to do that. And we have taken financing from the groups that, first of all, are willing to give the financing to a company that is pre-revenue, that is just starting out. And also, we've taken the financing that was necessary for us to build this business. So whenever anybody brings up the issue of toxic financing and everything, we just don't see things that way, because the ultimate benefit of any financing is, and the ultimate reward is, if you use that capital for the right purposes. You use that capital to build the product. You use that capital to market, to promote, to develop a world-class management team. And that's exactly what we've done with the financing. So the reality is, we knew that 2013 was going to be an expensive year when it came to raising money. But because of all the success that we've had, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on, but because of all the things that we've been able to do, because of the management team, because of the things we have done, we're now in the position to be able to get capital for the business that is less expensive, that doesn't have the terms that are so favorable to the lender, but are also more favorable to the company. And that's what building a business and growing is all about. So we just see any capital that we've raised as essential capital. The institutions that have invested, the investors, listen, they provide an essential service in the United States of America for small emerging growth companies, because the truth is, the banks aren't just out there ready to throw money at every business that starts up. They want to see a track record. They want to see growth. So how do you get to that point? You raise money in whatever manner you can in order to do what you need to do. So that's just kind of how I address any questions about the expensive nature of the financing that we've taken to this point.
And with currently over 800 million shares outstanding, why do you think there's been so much dilution?
Well, the reality is, Mike, the reason there's dilution is based on what I just said. It's expensive money. I mean, it's money that has a cost to it, but it's just like buying anything of value. Let's just say you buy an expensive house or you buy an expensive car. Well, the bottom line is, what do you get out of that investment? And what we've gotten out of that investment is a world-class management team. We've gotten product that makes everything else look kind of like, well, hey, this is a really quality product and it's in the same price range. Even if you compare a Barbie doll next to a Prettie Girls doll, you'll see some quality in the Prettie Girls doll that you don't see in the Barbie doll. We've gotten manufacturing with the largest manufacturer of toy products to the United States. And you don't just get these things just because you're there. You get these things because they have cost to them and you have to buy those things. So the dilution has been a direct result of the low stock price and the capital needs of the company. I'll give you some real numbers, Mike. In order to raise $10,000 based on a stock price that's sub-penny, you're talking about upwards of 1 million shares or more in order to get that financing. But if your stock is trading at $1 a share, you're only talking about 10,000 shares going out in the marketplace. So the bottom line is that 2013 was our focus on building and establishing and doing what we had to do to get to the point where we could do better. Now that we've achieved so many things, it's time to move on to more optimal financing that will not be as dilutive, it will not put as many shares into the marketplace, and cleaning up our share structure, bottom line, in order to address the 1.5 billion shares that we have authorized out there, the 800 million shares that are outstanding. And all of these are a part of our growth strategy, and we'll be implementing those steps in the very near future and just building this business and moving on. But now it's time to attract and to work with financing that's much more favorable to the company, and we're in the process of doing that even as I speak now.
And what are some solutions the company is considering, if any, for the low share price?
Well, first of all, there's a couple of things that you can do. The first thing is making sure that no more shares come into the marketplace that create excessive dilution. And how do you do that? Well, you pay off any debt or any of these convertible notes that are coming up. Most recently, we just paid off a $65,000 convertible note that, realistically speaking, upon conversion, could have put upwards of 70 million shares into the marketplace. And that kind of dilution, creates a situation where the stock price gets watered down. So the first thing is paying off some of this convertible debt. The second thing is the concept of doing some type of reverse split. Now, a lot of times reverse splits are not popular with people because there's somewhat of a negative stigma attached to them, especially in the OTC space. But the reality is that the reverse split is a strategical move, and it's a good one if it's done at the right time and the right way. And then the third thing would be to do some type of stock buyback or repurchase where the company actually went out into the marketplace and purchased some of those shares that are out there. So, a combination of those three things are the path that we'll take in order to get, the stock price exactly where it needs to be, not only to make investors feel more comfortable and happy, but also to be able to attract the type of investors that we want and need at this time, which are the ones that offer terms that are more favorable to both parties as opposed to heavily weighted to the investor themselves.
And so you mentioned this, you recently issued a press release announcing the company is undergoing a reverse split.
Yes.
Could you elaborate any more on that strategy?
Yeah, well, the strategy of the reverse split is in order to attract the kind of financing that is non-dilutive, you have to get your stock price out of the dilution zone, okay? And that's bottom line. And it's like that example I used earlier with the $10,000. You have to get your stock price to a point where, first of all, there's value behind that, because a lot of companies do a reverse split and it's just kind of a wash, rinse, and repeat cycle where, they do the reverse and then they keep doing the same dilutive financing in order to, get money for whatever purposes, building a business or to pay employees or pay executives, whatever. So that's not the right approach. What you do is that you do the reverse and then you bring value. The value that we're going to be bringing behind the new stock price will be, first of all, overseas distribution, new distribution deals, sales numbers, okay, new media coverage, new promotional efforts. So things that create momentum, because a reverse split that's done and there's no momentum to move the new stock price forward, you're just wasting your time, okay? The other thing is that when it comes to dealing with the types of investors and investment firms that we need to get, the reverse split is necessary because 1.5 billion shares authorized, 800 million shares outstanding. That's just not the most attractive picture to the type of investors that can invest capital that tends not to be heavily dilutive, okay? But the only way to do that is you have to reverse those shares out. But also what the company will be doing is lowering the authorized shares from 1.5 billion down to 50 million, okay? And so that changes the landscape completely, and it gives a much better presentation, it paints a much better picture, and it gives a share structure that will make investors feel very comfortable with the fact that there's not a lot of dilution going to be happening and there's not a lot of shares out there in the marketplace. I believe the number of outstanding shares will be just over 1 million shares in the marketplace. And that's exactly where you want to be, with a very, very tight float and not a lot of outstanding shares. So the reverse split is just a decision that was made based on the dynamics of what the company is going to need to do to finance its operations, finance its production, finance the marketing, finance the management team, all of these things going in the near future. So we're very comfortable with the decision, and we just want our shareholders to just understand that every decision that's being made is being made in the best interest of the company. And at this time, the reverse split is exactly the thing we need to do, and it's the perfect solution for a perfect part of the solution for the share price issue.
And Trent, last question. As far as investors and bloggers who have been expressing their concern in chat rooms and other online venues, what is your message to them?
Well, you know what, Mike, my message to them, and I think I speak for everyone here, is to say that, hey, we get it. We understand. We certainly know that when you've invested your money and you look at a share price that's 30 or 40% lower than what you invested in, or, the share price has these dips and there's a lot of dilution coming out there, it tends to people, okay? But what I want everybody to understand is this. We're building here, okay? This is not Mattel yet. This is not Hasbro yet. We're building a brand, and we have to invest into that. And part of that investment is some of the dilution that's happened. It's some of the things that we've had to do in order to take in capital in order to build this brand. And whenever anybody expresses concern or complaints, I say to them, well, would you rather have a lower share price, but we have world-class management team? We have A-rated product. We have a group of celebrities and people that are taking our message out to the marketplace and saving us hundreds of thousands of dollars in advertising space and airtime. Would you rather have, a person designing dolls that was a 15-year veteran of Mattel, a former senior vice president from Mattel who was over all Barbie products as part of our team, a CEO that was at one of the largest banks in the world? All of these things cost money. So the reality is, if you're an investor or a shareholder who is not exactly thrilled with where things are, I will say to you, things are where they are because this has just been part of the process of growing and developing this business. That's all there is to it. Going into 2014, you'll see things that will look a lot different. You'll see a much different landscape. You'll see a much different financing picture. You'll see a much different share structure. So I just tell people to just be patient. We're not really seeing a lot of complaints or anything. In fact, we're seeing investor confidence is at an all-time high, and it continues to grow as we continue to prove ourselves and prove our business model. So that's what we're going to keep doing, Mike. And, we just appreciate everybody. And we do know that sometimes people get frustrated because share prices are not exactly where they want to be. But I just say to them, just be patient and just watch what we do. And you'll see that everything will work out for the best and the benefit of everyone involved.
And Trent, that's all the questions I had for today. Was there anything else you wanted to add before we close?
Nothing else other than to say, this is a publicly traded company and this is a for-profit venture, so it is about making money. But I also always want to encourage people to really understand and remember what the vision of this company is, what our job is. We have a financial responsibility and then we have a social responsibility. The financial responsibility is create value for our shareholders. But the social responsibility is to never lose focus on the fact that we are changing little girls' lives. We are letting little girls all over the world of color, who are from different races, different ethnicities, different diversities, we're letting them know that, hey, someone out there is thinking about you. I went into a major store last night, just picking up a few things, and I just decided to walk down the doll and the toy section. And you know what, Mike? I walked down there, and out of hundreds and hundreds of dolls that was on the shelf, there was only one face that represented a diverse ethnicity. And you know what? It's not my job to say whether that's right or wrong. It's just my job to say we're going to do something about it. So this company is focused on the empowerment of little girls. That's our core mission, and that's our job. And as long as we focus on that, the benefits socially and also the benefits financially will show themselves. So we just want everybody to take a serious look at this company. We want people to really understand that we're serious. We're not just making dolls to throw on the shelves. We're serious. We're going to compete with the big boys. We're going to compete with the Mattels, the Hasbros, the Jakks Pacific. That's exactly what we're going to do. But we're not competing with them trying to move anybody off the field, so to speak. We're competing because there's a wide open space for us to play, and it's truly going to prove itself to be even bigger and better as we move forward and build this business. So those would be my only parting words. Is just let's never forget what the core mission of this company is, and that's all of our beautiful little girls out there.
Trent, thank you very much for taking the time to join us and to share your insights about the company.
Thank you very much, Mike. You take care.
We've been talking to Mr. Trent Daniels. He's the founder of One World Holdings, whose subsidiary, the One World Doll Project, endeavors to make significant positive cultural impact through its Prettie Girls multicultural doll line. One World Holdings is a publicly traded company listed under ticker symbol OWOO, and you can find out more about them by visiting their website at www.oneworlddolls.com. Thanks for watching.